In this video, I'll be building the newest POI in Fortnite Chapter 5 Season 4, Castle Doom, completely out of Lego. Let's jump into it. Now that horrendous Season 3 is over, we can finally get back to enjoying Fortnite thanks to our Lord and Savior, Dr. Doom. A quick recap, Dr. Doom has taken over the season using Pandora's box to kill the Marvel Universe or something. I'm kind of unclear, but we got jetpacks, baby! Season 4 brings 3 new major POIs to the map. The Wrath, Doomstadt, and Castle Doom. I wanted to start by building the coolest of them, the castle, obviously. This is where I like to imagine Dr. Doom is hanging out all day, playing video games and FaceTiming his mom. I've actually never made a castle out of Lego before, which is weird considering that's like the most common thing Lego builders do. My goal is to build 3 different sections of the POI that will come together to form a scaled down version of the castle. I wanted to build the bridge and the entrance to the fortress, something that looks more like the main portion of the castle, and a groovy throne room for Dr. Doom. Starting off with the entrance, I landed here a few times to get some inspiration. I knew I wanted to have 2 towers overlooking the main bridge and the entry to Castleway, but I ran into a problem. They are round. Lego bricks are not round. You see my dilemma? Luckily, I used the 20,000 level IQ move. I was able to use these masonry bricks in combination with these cylinders and cones, and I'm able to get this awesome rounded effect. This was going great until I ran into another issue. I ran out of 1x1 cylinder bricks, so I stole my wife's insider club and ordered a buttload of new parts. These parts should be here in 3 to 5 days, which totally throws off my plan to build this portion of the build first, but I decided to do the best I can before starting on the next section. I rated my parts collection for plates, slope pieces, bricks, arches, etc. I started by making a base to make a river and bridge. I wanted to elevate it a little to add more depth. I then built up some rock work because I knew this is exactly where I was going to put my buildings. There's a little bit of tricky math involved with using these circular things, but I kind of figured it out. For reference, the diameter of these circles are about 10.5 studs, and it seems to work fine. I replicated the build on the other side and placed my towers. It was at this point I realized I probably should have thought about how it was going to look from the top down, but I was already in too deep.
That's what she said!
So then I started building out the actual bridge itself. I decided to use this technique of putting masonry bricks on its side, so that way I could have like a cool stone effect. Put a few snot pieces on there too, so I could place objects and minifigures. I rounded out the front of the bridge with some headlight bricks and some tiles, and I think it looks pretty nice. I then went to work on the entrance of the actual castle. I was pretty excited to utilize this gate piece as a way to keep intruders from coming into the castle. I had to use some interesting techniques to get it to fit, but I think it works really well, especially using those big groove pieces so I can slide it up and down. This is when I ran into another parts problem. I really wanted to use a lot of gold plates around the castle because Dr. Doom likes that gold trim. However, I didn't really have a lot of pieces in gold. The only gold I could find in large quantity were these jumpers. I was literally digging for gold looking for these, but I decided I really wanted gold as an accent color to this whole entire build, so I stuck with the jumpers and was able to get something that looked pretty cool. I placed some bricks on the edges of the bridge and added a little bit of detail into the walls. And this is what I have so far, and I'm pretty happy with how it looks. I wanted to add a little bit more details, but I decided let's go ahead and wait until those parts get in. I'm starting to run low on masonry bricks, which has me a little bit worried because I didn't order anymore, but I wanted to save them for other parts of the castle.
2 days later.
My order from Lego finally got here. I ended up getting 2 free gift with purchases that I got no clue what I'm gonna do with, but I was really excited to get my parts until I remembered, for whatever reason, when Lego sends you pick-a-brick parts, they put it all in like 1 or 2 bags, and I'm like, come on guys, it was already separated before you shipped it to me. Can you, like, I don't know, keep them separated? So I proceeded to spend the next hour sorting all of these parts, which is no bueno. But let me show you what I got. I got this piece, 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 these pieces, a couple of these, this piece, and of course, these. Now that I have the pieces that I need, I was finally able to complete the towers. I didn't want the towers to just look like a bunch of bricks in a circle, so I tried to break it up a little bit by including a window on either tower. Then I built them up to the same height as the middle section. I did the same to the second tower, and then I tried to tile it off on top. I was actually having a hard time trying to figure out how to finish these towers off, so I moved on to some decoration. I added these clips into the wall so I could hang up these Dr. Doom propaganda banners. I also included a couple of these little cute wolf statues. Then I got back to working on the towers. I used these inverted slopes so I can make a cool extruding layer to the top of the tower, and then I pretty much just put a bunch of 2x4 bricks inside for support so I could lay down the roof. I added a few masonry bricks for the turrets, a platform for the center, as well as giving some detail like these giant bowls of fire. And it was finally time to polish off this build. I added in some details like a golden chest, a henchman patrolling the top of the tower. I ended up using Hydra agents for the henchmen because I had a few of them and they were green, so I thought they looked good. I gave War Machine these dual micro SMGs. I added in some random items like this 50 teapot on the bridge, and I added a player who was fortunate enough to find the jetpack early in the game. I'm never this lucky, unfortunately. And there we go, we have the first section of the castle done. I spent a lot of time and money just on this section, so I think I'm ready to move on. Now I was ready to build the large section of the castle. Originally I planned to build the giant tower as well as this triangle-shaped roof building, but I realized I don't really have enough pieces nor the space to do that, so I ended up just sticking with the tower. Speaking of spending money, I ended up spending a few more dollars on brick. So you get these really unnecessarily expensive roof pieces, and they only came in the recent Dry Bowser castle set. But now that I got all these green pointy boys lined up, it helped me identify the footprint of the tower. For this building, I didn't want to repeat the same method I used before, so instead of using a combination of masonry bricks and those cylinder pieces, I used a combination of masonry bricks and hinge pieces. Very clever, very demure. I used a couple plates for the base and started working on extending the tower. For each level of the tower, I ended up going with 5 bricks of height, plus the 2 hinge plates. I added in this door piece because I spent money on it for some reason, and I started building up the rest of the tower. I added a few windows to some of the walls to add some texture, as well as some snot pieces so I can place figures later. I carved out this little section towards the top so I could add a balcony on either side, because I was starting to think that even though this tower looks pretty towery, it really wasn't great for displaying figures. So this is the balcony I came up with. I probably could have done a little bit better with this, but it wouldn't be an anti-stud video unless I got real lazy with it. And now to the roof. I wasn't happy with the size of the base, so I extended it out using all of these extra slope pieces. It took a little bit of finagling on my part, but I was able to get it shaped right so I could place it between the other 4 cones. I'm really happy with how the roof ended up looking. I then added these gold harpoons to the top so it looks very medieval. And it was finally time to place the figures. Like I mentioned before, I didn't have much room, so I did my best. First here we have Cyclops holding the new Sovereign shotgun, which by the way, every time I use this shotgun, I feel like I'm in that Sabrina Carpenter music video because I can't aim with it to save my life. Next up we have Falcon Captain America. He's still trying to land from the bus, but can we just take a moment to appreciate how great this figure is? Next, I wanted to give Logan a jetpack. Again, very lucky that he got it this early in the game. He doesn't even have his weapons yet. Since we don't have a Lego Gwenpool yet, I went ahead and snuck Deadpool in the back of the tower as well. And finally, I added Rogue from the X-Men. I gave her a Monarch pistol and she's dueling with another henchman. And here's the tower in all of its glory. I'm pretty happy with how the tower itself ended up, although I do wish I had the extra time and pieces to build the rest of the castle because I think it just seems a little bit bare by itself. But I'm hoping when I display with the other 2 builds, it'll all come together. And I was finally ready to tackle Dr. Doom's throne room. He's got a pretty interesting taste in interior design. It's mostly a bunch of bricks, carpet, and giant golden wolves. So I started off this section by just kind of putting a bunch of plates together. I knew I was going to tile it off later, so I didn't care too much about the color. And then I got to work on the stairs. Instead of just doing like 1 plate per step, I wanted to try this technique of using jumpers. So essentially what I did is I just stacked a whole bunch of jumpers offset by half a stud all the way to the top of the stairs. And I think it looks really cool. I was able to get a carpet effect going on, and I'm actually really happy with it. The only thing I don't like about it is it's actually pretty flimsy, so we just got to be careful. I originally thought about making an exterior to the throne room, but then I thought it might be really hard to see all the fun details inside, so I decided to just kind of leave this open. I added a cool little design to the top, and I was ready to build his actual throne. Now, if you don't already know about this, this might be a little disturbing. In fact, I'd say this is probably one of the most disturbing things in Fortnite. It seems Dr. Doom has succeeded in defeating his foes, the Fantastic Four, and I guess he decided to use the Thing's dead body as his chair? What is wrong with this guy? So in my head, I kind of already came up with the way of how I was gonna build this. I really just threw together a bunch of orange pieces, like studs to kind of look like rocks. I gave him a little bit of a slant on the back, and then I put his pants on. I don't know why Dr. Doom left his pants on. I don't know, the whole thing's weird. So I placed a throne on the top of the stairs and got to work on some of the detailing of the room, put in these cute little gold wolves and started working on the back wall. I wasn't really going for a 1-to-1 replica of the location, but I did want to include some sort of stained glass in the background. I grabbed a buttload of translucent plates and got to stacking. I probably could have came up with a better design that looked more like it does in the game, but I was getting kind of lazy and just wanted to get this done, so this is what you get. Now I was finally able to tile off the floor. I wanted to have a cool little pattern, that way you can say that I tried. I used a combination of dark gray and dark tan pieces and made this plaid design. And it was at this point I realized I forgot to extend the carpet from the stairs all the way down. So I stripped off some pieces and got to tiling. And I'm thinking it's looking pretty nice. I added a few more bricks to the back so I could hang up these Dr. Doom banners, and I can finally start placing my figures. Of course, I had to start with my Dr. Doom minifigure. I'm really glad I have this figure, because it only came in one set based off of like a weird Spider-Man TV show, so he's dear to my heart. Next, I placed my Iron Patriot, which was a really weird figure to get. You had to get it with the release of the Lego Marvel Superheroes video game, but I'm glad I have this figure as well. Side note, I'm a little disappointed they didn't put the Iron Patriot in Lego Fortnite. If you tried to play Lego Fortnite with him, it'll just give you the default War Machine skin, which is also frustrating because in my head, Iron Patriot is the Green Goblin Norman Osborn, not Rhodey, but I guess you can't win them all. I decided that having Dr. Doom sitting down was a little bit boring, so I decided to suspend him in the air while he's using his Doom gauntlets. It was around this time when Fortnite dropped the Iron Spider in the shop, and I was so excited I had to get it. And hey, if you're planning on getting this skin or any others, please consider using my code Immosaurus. It'll really help me out. Luckily, I found my Iron Spider minifigure so I could place him in the build too. It's a little weird seeing Peter Parker run around with a Glock, but I went ahead and gave him a Monarch pistol. Next, I wanted to try my hand at making a classic Fortnite character, which was Peely. Pretty much all I had to do was get the Banana Man CMF, as well as some other yellow pieces. I don't think he looks that great, but I think you get the gist. And last, I of course had to add Captain America with his Captain America shield. And with that, we're finally finished with the throne room. I'm actually really happy with this build. If I had more time, I'm sure I could add more detail, but I really think it highlights this portion of Castle Doom. I ended up really liking how the stairs came out, although I wish I'd made them a little bit more sturdy, and I think the green from the banners and the carpets really makes this stand out. And with that, we are finally finished. Here are my 3 builds representing Castle Doom. We have the front gate, the tower, and the throne room. Overall, I'm very pleased with how these all came out. I'd have to say my least favorite is the tower, but I really like how the throne room and the front gate ended up turning out. It was also great being able to flex all my Marvel figures. I knew they'd come in handy for something one day. If you enjoyed watching me make Castle Doom, make sure to check out my Chapter 5 Season 3 video as well. And let me know what you'd like to see next. I've been thinking about making the raft, even though I don't really have a figure that represents Emma Frost, but I've also been thinking about making something from Reload. Tilted Towers, perhaps? Anyways, make sure to thank the bus driver by liking that smash button and subscribing. I'm done. I quit.